Hello there. Thank you so much for being here for this info session on the First Year Abroad Australia program. We're going to do some quick introductions. Ginger and I can introduce ourselves, and then we'll have students who are here introduce themselves. And then we're going to just talk for about 15 minutes or so about the program, and then give you some time to ask questions, and we'll go from there. So, Ginger, why don't you go ahead?
Yes, hi. So you see that my name there is Ginger Hoffman, and the name underneath, I was trying to change that, but I'm having trouble with that. But I go by Ginger Hoffman. Nila is my first name. So I'm a cultural anthropologist, and this will be my second time leading, co-leading, I should say, this trip to Australia. It will be my fourth time visiting Australia. It's a fascinating country. So that's a little bit about me.
And I'm Scott Ozorowski. I work in the Study Abroad office, and I help coordinate all of the first year abroad programs. But I'm also really excited this year to be helping co-lead this program going to Australia, working together with Ginger for the first time. I'm actually leading students to Australia this time. So I'm really excited about that. Well, let me kind of I'll move along here and just I'll do a quick little intro here, and I'm going to let Ginger take over for a while. Just structurally, just so you know how this works. So this is a focal point seminar class. It's your LSP 112 class. And for first year students, this is a class that you are typically taking in your first year in either winter or spring quarter. It is for first year students. We will allow sometimes some sophomores on the program, especially if they have not taken their LSP 112 class, or if they are an honors student that has not taken Honors 102 yet, which is the other class it counts for if you're an honors student. But hopefully you are not taking a focal point seminar this winter quarter. But also if you are taking a focal point this winter quarter, you still can apply for this and you would get experiential learning credit for it instead of the focal point seminar credit. Or if you're in a major that doesn't require a focal point seminar, because there are a handful of majors where you don't need to take a focal point seminar, we will give you experiential learning credit, or it can go towards your open electives. And the way that it works is there will be a 4 credit class and then an additional 2 credit class that are all part of your spring quarter registration. And that is for all of the time that you're on the course. It's a 4 credit class that happens during spring quarter. And then you get 2 more credits for that time abroad that we will do for almost 2 weeks in June. And then the course is going to take place in the spring quarter Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11:20 till 12:50. So just make sure as you are putting together your spring quarter schedule that you don't have another class at that time, because you have to be in that class. So, all right. And Ginger, I'll let you take it over from here, talking about the class and through all the slides about the time abroad.
Absolutely. Thank you, Scott. Yeah, so this is a class about Indigenous culture, history, politics, struggles, and the joys of being Indigenous. And when I was like thinking about this class and designing this class, I came to realize that a lot of American students don't receive a lot of information about Indigenous culture and history in the United States. So what I have done, in addition to the readings that we do about Australian Aboriginal people and the Australian continent, I also have included information about Native Americans. And so what we explore in this class in the spring quarter are some of the similarities and some of the differences between the two groups. I'm asking you for your final paper in the spring quarter to put together, on a topic of your choosing, a paper about Indigenous Americans, okay? Native Americans, one particular group, one particular topic, or several smaller topics. And then you're going to present that when we are in Australia to our Australian colleagues, some of which will be students, Indigenous students, Australian Indigenous students. Some of them will be faculty. So we'll have a really nice roundtable discussion. It will not be very formal, but it will be a really great discussion, and it will be a way of us giving back all the information and all the things that we are receiving from them. So that's a little bit about the class. It is a social justice class. So we get into difficult dialogues. We talk about, settler colonialism. The United States is a settler colonial state, as is Australia. And so we talk about that. We have a number of different films that we're viewing about Aboriginal life and Native American life as well, and a number of different topics. So maybe you can go to the next slide now. All right. So as you may or may not know, all the big cities in Australia are on the coast. So two of those amazing cities, Melbourne and Brisbane, we visit. But all the other important ones like Sydney, Adelaide, Perth, Darwin, they're also on the coast. And we get into that, why that is, in terms of historically and politically and economically, why those coastal cities. So this is a little bit about our trip. As you can see, that's a nice little add-on. Scott, thank you, those little stars. Yay! So it may be difficult to see, but we will be in the county of Victoria, all right? And then we will be also on the southern part of Queensland. So we are on the southern and eastern part of Australia. And that island that you see down there, that's Tasmania. You may have heard of Tasmanian devils, these wonderful little creatures, very cute, who we will see when we go to the koala sanctuary in Brisbane. We will, of course, see our very, very sleepy koala little bears, which koalas sleep 20 hours a day. So they're always sleepy. They're always in a tree, munching on eucalyptus leaves and then sleeping. But in addition, we will see other wildlife such as dingoes, Australian dingoes that are there at the sanctuary, kangaroos and wallabies. We'll see them both at the sanctuary and in just sort of in nature when we're out and about our day. So it's really exciting. It's a really exciting part of the trip. But yes, so there will be some of these Tasmanian devils as well. I don't have a picture with me now, but in the class in the spring, I'll show you some photos. So as you can see, it's very far away, okay? Australia is far away. I think you know that already. So we fly to San Francisco. That's about 5 hours. And then we hop on a plane to Melbourne. And that's another 15 hours. So we are literally on the other side of the globe. We get to Melbourne. We have 5 days in Melbourne, 4 or 5 days in Melbourne. Yeah, 5 days in Melbourne. And then we travel to Brisbane. And because it's such a huge country, right, we actually fly to Brisbane. So otherwise it would be a beautiful trip through South Wales, but it would take way too long, and that would be like a whole different kind of program. And then once we're in Brisbane, we go to different sites and experiences there. So if you want to go to the next slide, it shows you some of these experiences that we will do. First and foremost, of course, we meet with our colleagues and friends from Australian Catholic University. This is, we have a collaboration agreement with them, which means if you, like some students last year, fall in love with Australia and really want to study a whole semester, you can do that through Australian Catholic University. So we meet with
We have
them.
at least one student who's looking at doing that next year, Ginger.
Okay, all right, excellent, yeah. So we meet with them, and particularly with the Indigenous unit, and we have programming with them and through them, but also separate from them in both places, in both in Melbourne and Brisbane. And so among the things that we will do, everything Indigenous, we'll go to museums, we'll go on a multicultural tour, and we'll go to an Aboriginal Cultural Center as well. But in addition to that, we will also have this amazing experience, and you'll see it on the next slide, a day-long Great Ocean Highway excursion. And that's where we see all the wildlife, in the wild. And but we also see a lot more than that. We go along this highway that is just stunning, and view the apostles, have a rainforest walk, and so on and so forth. And then we also have, a music, a theater activity, tucked in there in Melbourne. We also made sure that you have some free time. So Scott and I, being middle-aged people who are going to be very tired at the end of the day, probably want to have a nice glass of wine and go to sleep. But you, being young people and energetic, may seek that as an opportunity to go out and about. Last year, we were really lucky that some of the Indigenous students from ACU joined our student group, and they went out and showed them a good time. So then we go to Brisbane. We fly there, right? It's an hour and 20 minutes or something like that. It's a fast flight. At any rate, we also there have everything, everything Aboriginal and then some. And the exciting part about that, we go to this beautiful island, Straddie Island, where we meet a man, an Aboriginal man, who will take us literally through the forest, and will literally pluck leaves and grasses, and say, see this? Now, if you mix this with this is good for arthritis. And if you do this, this is good for this. And this is what we use for ceremony, and so on. So it's just really eye-opening walking through this forest, and, the forest literally comes alive in front of our eyes. And they are showing us these medicinal remedies that have been used, of course, for centuries. So yeah, I call it Straddie. The locals call it Straddie. I'm now a local since I've been there 4 times, right? But it's Stradbroke Island, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Like, the photographs don't even do it justice. The bluest sea you've ever seen, and the cliffs, and I mean, just amazing. Yes, and then of course the Koala Sanctuary, Botanic Gardens are amazing in Brisbane. Amazing, amazing, amazing. At any rate, even if you would just hang out in the city, which we won't only hang out in the city, you just see all of these amazing creatures, that particularly birds, that we don't see. We get excited maybe if we see a crow, right? Or a seagull. We see seagulls in Chicago. And of course we see, we have different critters in Chicago, like rabbits. You won't see rabbits there. Or just other wildlife that is out there. Coyotes. They do have coyotes in Australia. We don't see many of them. All right, so let's go to the next slide. The koala. This is the trip that we'll take along the Great Ocean Highway. That highway was built in Australia at the same time that the Californian, the highway that goes around the Californian coast. That's also very famous, and that was being built after the Second World War as part of a work effort, getting the country back to work, kind of thing. And it was the same thing happened in Australia. So we have over 1,000 miles, of this amazing. Obviously, we're not going to do the 1,000 miles, but we'll do a really important chunk. We'll take breaks. We'll go on this tour bus, and it will be very, very awesome. All right, let's go to the next slide. Yes, this is some of the art making and Indigenous dancing that we will not just witness, but we will partake in. So that's the exciting part as well. And we'll do that on Stradbroke Island, where we're getting different demonstrations of doing this sort of work. Yes, this is just more Aboriginal images, but basically the long and the short, I wanted to, in addition to talking about these heavy topics like, settler colonialism and, really the brutalization of Indigenous people, both in Australia and in the United States historically, I also wanted to talk and about the joy of indigeneity and the joy of indigenous culture, and that includes art, and with art, I am thinking ceremonial dances, I'm thinking actual art, as paintings, and we'll see all of that. We'll go to some wonderful museums where we can see that. Let's go to the next slide. Is this something you want to cover?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can kind of go
yeah,
on this.
yeah.
So the application deadline is February 1st. For those of you who have submitted your application already, excellent. I'll be in touch soon about that. If you have not submitted it yet or started it yet, just go to the First Year Abroad Australia program page, click on the Apply Now button. The application is pretty simple. It just asks a handful of questions. It doesn't take long. And then what will happen is Ginger and I, in the first week or so of February, we'll have some brief group interviews with everybody who has applied. And it's not like a high pressure interview, it's just a small group for a half an hour where we'll just ask some questions, get to know you a little bit, give you a chance to ask us questions. So be on the lookout for that. I will be sending emails out about that in the next week or two to sign up for your interview slot. And again, they're a small group, so it's a chance to meet some of the other students who are applying as well. We do have scholarships for this program. There are special first year abroad scholarships. You do not need to do any kind of separate scholarship application. As long as you apply to the program by February 1st, you'll automatically be considered for our main study abroad scholarships. Our smallest of those scholarships is around $1,000. Our largest of those scholarships can go up to almost the full cost of the program. So I always tell students, if you're not sure, if financiers are an issue, just apply. See if you get accepted, see what kind of scholarship funding you get, and then you can go from there in deciding if you're moving forward or not able to. We will let you know about all of this in sort of mid-February about acceptances and scholarships. And then if you do get accepted and you're going to move forward, we will get you registered in the classwork. You don't have to do that. We get you registered in that focal point seminar classwork and the other 2 credit class. Some students like to register in a backup class just in case once registration starts. And you can always drop out of that or we can swap you out of it, but we'll get you registered. I will say as well, there are other outside scholarships that you can apply for. Our study abroad website has a lot of information on those scholarships. So you can see if there are any that might apply to you that you could apply for. But again, for the main study abroad scholarships, you don't need to do anything. You just need to apply by February 1st. We sometimes do extend the application deadline past February 1st for a week or two. But if that happens, you don't get automatically considered for our scholarships anymore. So it's really important that you submit your application by February 1st at the latest if you want to be considered for the scholarships. And then in terms of cost, the fee for this program is $4,100. And so it covers almost everything. It covers your round trip airfare, and that's from Chicago to Australia and back. And that includes your Melbourne to Brisbane flight. It's all your accommodations. It's a bunch of your meals. It's all the activities we do, the excursions, the transportation. You get international travel health insurance. So really, it's just a handful of meals and your spending money that aren't included in that. So like I said, just the flight alone, if you fly to Australia, that's a couple $1,000s right there. So we do our best to keep it as affordable as we can, knowing that, we want to make it an opportunity as many students as possible have a chance to do. And again, if you do get scholarship funding awarded, that will come right off of that and decrease that amount. Well, what questions do all of you have about how the program works, how to apply, just anything about the time abroad or the class? We're here to answer any questions for you.
I had a question about the visa.
Yeah.
Will you be able to help with the visa, or is it just on us?
Yeah, you're an international student, I'm
Yeah.
assuming? Yeah.
Yeah.
What we'll do is it will be your responsibility to get your visa if you do need a visa, but we will be able to help with that. I will be able to help get you some information about what you need, and there will be some certain documents that DePaul has to provide to you as you go through the visa process, and I will assemble all of those documents for you that you're going to need from us. So there will be work on your end in terms of having to get
Yeah.
that visa, but I will get together all the documents that you need from us. Yeah, for sure.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you.
So Maria, are you Croatian?
No, I'm Ukrainian.
Oh, Ukrainian. Does your last name mean dentist?
Oh, I know, but it doesn't. It's an animal.
Oh,
Bison.
Zubar is an animal. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
bison.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can definitely help you with all of that. And just to let you know, it is just an electronic visa. And for those of you who are U.S. citizen, it's an electronic visa. We do it together in the classroom, and it's not going to be a problem.
Thank you.
What else? What other questions?
Can you use like Pell Grant as a scholarship as well?
Yeah, the way it works is any of the regular aid that you get still applies to this. You're going to be in the classwork, the 6 credits of classwork, but those are just regular classes. So like your tuition will look the same as it does every quarter. You're going to have the same tuition on your account. Your grants that you get or scholarships from DePaul all count toward that. The additional cost is that $4,100 program fee, and that is for the flights and the lodging and the food and the activities and all that. So your grants and scholarships don't go toward that. It just goes towards your regular tuition that's a part of the study abroad classwork. So that 4,100 is the extra money above and beyond. Sometimes financial aid can increase the amount of a loan to help cover that. But again, the scholarship funding is to help cover that as well. We have some students who do some crowdfunding where they set up like a GoFundMe page for friends and family to donate money that will help toward that. And then the outside scholarships as well. But yeah, all of your regular grants and scholarships go toward the tuition and the study abroad classwork the same as it would any quarter.
Okay. And also, for Australia, do you have to like do it like, let's say you have any relative or any friend you live with, or do you have to go as a group or like share uh like a like I don't know how you say it
I know what you're asking. I think I know what you were asking, Kelvin. No, you just apply, and like I said, if you come with us in the program, we will apply for the visa together. We'll show it to you on our phones. It's a phone thing. It's I believe it costs $20, and you do it on the phone, and there will be an address. They'll ask you. They don't ask you about friends or something like that. It's just a normal tourist visa. They'll ask you for an address, and I will have the address for you because it's
Yeah.
basically the hotel that we're staying at, and that will be that. And so it will be, you'll be in the class, we'll all do it together. So not to worry about that. And you don't have to know anybody in Australia or anything like that.
Yeah, our whole group will be together the whole time in terms of flying there together, traveling around, doing everything together, staying together. So
Yeah, and applying for the visa together in the classroom. So it will be all good. The only time we're not together is when the old people go to bed and you all go out and about. It's the only time. Does that make sense?
yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
For the fee, does that get added to our spring tuition if we decide to go?
Yep, it would just be a charge that's on your spring quarter bill. So it'll just appear just like any other charge. And you will have some time to pay that. It's also something where you can talk with student financial accounts through One DePaul and set up a payment plan if that's something you'd like to do, where they can maybe spread out the payments over a certain number of months. And like I said as well, you can also talk to someone in financial aid to see if there might be the chance to increase one of your loans a little bit to help cover some of that if you need to. So yeah, that's kind of how that would work.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? One thing I want to say before we wrap up, please, if you know anyone else who might be interested in the program, spread the word to any of your friends or other people that you know. We definitely still have a lot of spots available, and we would love for you to talk it up. So get your friends interested, anyone you might know, spread the word. We want to make sure that we have enough students apply so that we can actually have the program run. So yeah, please get the word out there in these next couple of weeks, and we'll go from there. Yeah.
And if you think of any other question, you can just email me or email Scott.
So thank you so much, everyone, for coming.
Thank you.